Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We just witnessed Unsold Stuff Gaming absolutely demolish Mineski and the third seeded teams from Japan as well as Southeast Asia. And it was a fun match to watch with Blitzcrank and Warwick running around the rift.
Yeah, it certainly was. And I think that what we saw was a really great brand of pick League of Legends that revolved around vision denial, cutting off the quick ways through the jungle and around Summoner's Rift. I mean, Mineski had to respect all the pick potential and damage that was going to come out on a single target. And ultimately, that got a really nice snowball rolling for USG, and they picked up a clean win.
Yeah, everyone on the desk, we've been harping on about how close the top teams are in the LGL, and that game showed it.
Yeah, I mean, we're also talking about how our Mineski weren't as close as Ascension or Gigabyte Marines coming into this tournament, and that kind of showed in that game as well. They do have another match, will be against Sin, who are in kind of the same situation at the moment, almost for Oceania.
Yeah, Sin lost their top lane carry, went back to NA. So they're looking to rebrand themselves, I guess, find out who they are again.
Yeah, and I mean, when you have a look at it, they still have a pretty solid bottom half of the map in Ryoma as well as FBI and Rogue. But the big questions are how are Dockler and Juves going to stand up in this tournament, because they by far look to be the weaklings on the Sin Gaming lineup. We didn't really see all that much out of, top lane as well as jungle combo, though, apart from the Jarvan falling down 3 levels against a Warwick, which was a little bit funny, Jake.
Funny? Sad?
I mean, he was equal at experience at level 6 and then somehow got 1 level to 3. So I don't know what happened there, Fish, but something devastating happened.
You just transitioned back from the season 3 jungling. You bought Moby, you buy Moby,
yeah,
you just sit in a bush and wait for a gank.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't really work out for the Jarvan there, of course. We didn't really see much of Warwick until he hit level 6 as well. But, to talk a little bit about that game, we actually have Hinga standing by with Heredi, who can talk a little bit about how they picked up the win there.
Hi guys, I'm here with Heredi, fresh off a victory. How does it feel to score a victory for the LJL?
今回の LJL 勝ちどう思いますか？初めての。
USG としては初めての国際大会だったんで、この勝利はとても嬉しいですね。
It's our first international win ever, so it's a big victory as we're very happy about it.
I know you've spent some time overseas. You went to IWCA. What's the experience like on the rest of your team in terms of international competition?
ハレッチーさんは IWC で、国際戦は参加されていると思うんですけど、他のチームメイトはいかがですか？今回の初めての、国際戦に対してどう思いますか？
そうですね。特に緊張することもなく、いつも通り LGL でやってるようなプレーができたので良かったと思ってます。
So we thought we might have been a little bit more nervous, but actually we're pretty comfortable. So we're actually being able to play how we usually play, even in the LJL. So we're really happy about what we're doing so far.
Do you know much about the OPL team you're going to be facing later on in the tournament?
次対戦する OPL のチームの、勉強とかご存知ですか？
そうですね。軽く見た程度で、あんまり詳しくは調べてないんですけども、大丈夫だと思います。
To be honest, I haven't done too much of my homework, so I don't know too much about them, but I'm sure we'll be comfortable there too.
Excellent stuff. Well, I like the confidence. Thank you for speaking to us, and best of luck in the rest of the tournament.
Well, there you go, guys. Some hope for Sin. They haven't done too much research into the Oceanic team, but he's not asking the important questions. What the heck are unsold stuff selling, and what is still unsold? I mean, we have to find out eventually. There's something. I mean,
that's your banger that you wanted to come back to?
He's like, don't worry, guys.
I've got a good one, guys.
Best transition.
I'm actually just done with this. Everyone just gangs up on me, and I actually have no friends here, apparently.
No, that's all right. That's why I like hanging out with other analysts. At the same time, I think that's a pretty good attitude that they had. They said that they thought they would be nervous. Turns out they can play exactly the same way they're going to play against LJL teams. Not really doing all that much preparation. I mean, I wouldn't prepare for Sid either, so a little bit...
Everyone's getting roasted tonight. Doesn't matter who you are.
Am I one of the few people that have faith in Sin coming into this tournament?
Mate, I think you were the only person in the country that has faith in Sin coming into this tournament. They are currently the 5th placed OPL team, and I don't even know whether they're the 5th place team anymore.
I'd love for Sin to win. It makes us look better, but I've got to be realistic,
For a second, I thought you were going on a positive note, and I was about to have a favorite Jake on the desk here today, but
I'm sorry.
That's not the case either. Let's go into this next game. It's going to be Rampage taking on Direwolves. This is going to be a big match, the one that I was really looking out for today, because these two teams are the only two teams in this tournament that have played against each other internationally.
Yeah, 1-1 at an international level. MSI play-ins. Direwolves were able to snag the first win, and then Rampage were able to pick up the win that didn't really matter, but I think was actually still played on its merits and came out victors. So this is one of those games that they have a little bit more information about each other and should be explosive action.
Yeah, you can say these games really don't matter, but these, everyone's here to be competitive.
Yep.
They definitely would not have wanted to lose there, so Direwolves would, they want to get revenge.
But especially because that was a game that would have got Direwolves back to 500. They would have been 3-3 to end out the tournament. A little bit more of a feel-good moment to come back to. Instead, they were 2-4. They had kind of let themselves down, they felt. They didn't really care about anything else at that stage. They were very vocal that they were doing this for the Direwolves organization. So much like on their way to Rift Rivals, where they said they're there to have a good showing, and then if the rest of Oceania plays well, then they're very happy about that. I think that they will want to recoup what was a pretty shocking mid-game versus the Gigabyte Marines.
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, touching on the fact that it wasn't a game that really mattered between Direwolves and Rampage at MSI play-ins, it was still a big game for the Japanese side because they've lost every single game going into the tournament.
At that point, yeah.
0-5. So picking up that single victory, and it wouldn't have been the first time that Japan sent a team internationally and not picked up a single victory. We just heard it from Heredi there. When he went to IWCI, he wasn't able to pick up a single win with his team. So his first international victory was today.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a look at it, the LJL was touted as kind of the dark horse coming into multiple IWC and then play-in events. And they haven't really ever been able to step up. The fact that they've picked up 2 early victories here shows that the region is starting to mature. They're such a new region.
Young region. To show this showing in one of their first international tournaments is great.
Yeah, it certainly is. And the lack of pressure, the fact that they're playing more freely, and I think that that's something that Rift Rivals is going to give to a lot of people. There is no next step. So it's what happens right now in this group of games that actually matters, allows you to play with that little bit more freedom, and you can see that it's coming out on some of those.
I mean, to put it into context, the GPL has been around since Season 1 with fully salaried players. The OPL was the next region to get their official service credit so they could start playing with one another. Whereas for the LGL, it was only this or last year where they just got their server, and their professional team hasn't been established for so long. But still, they're the most creative team that we've seen so far with unorthodox picks and unique playstyles that we thought we would really see from every region.
I mean, and there's another thing that we really don't talk about when we talk about the LJL server and the Japanese server is the fact that Japanese historically have not been PC gamers either. So playing League of Legends against what is a console gaming region historically, fighting game scene is absolutely massive over there. The LJL is certainly bucking the trend, and they've got fantastic numbers on their stream. I mean, they've got great supporters, and now they're showing that they have a really good competition behind all of that. For someone that's been a fan of the Japanese teams, I mean, this is a tournament that is really exciting for the LJL region, and I hope they continue to show it.
Yeah, for such a small region, I believe there was some statistics on their server. There was only 4 players in Master Tier on their server. It just shows, these guys have the passion for this, and they want to win. They don't feel much pressure. They said they didn't have much expectations coming into it, but being able to do what they're doing is great.
Well, if you're a fan of the LJL teams back at home, you have a lot to watch out for today because 4 out of 5 games will feature one of their teams playing. But for now, let's take a look at the LJL opponents lineup today. It's going to be the Direwolves from the OPL. Up in the top lane, it's going to be Chippies. Heading into the jungle will be Schönfire. Fantix will be taken to the mid lane with King and Destiny as your bottom lane AD carry and support.
And Schön was able to pick up a good early game there on the Rex side. Forced out Levi nice and early. So, they've dispelled one of the areas that we thought maybe they underperformed at the MSI play-ins. The other area was their bottom lane, and I don't know if there's many positive things we could say about the Destiny Kingjoy in that game. They actually, had the opportunity to be able to carry that mid game and then took some bad fights. Didn't have good setup for a Caitlyn Tahm Kench, which is so crucial to be able to save from pick League of Legends, and they need to step up in this game if there is any chance for Direwolves to take it.
Yeah, there was a really crucial point in that other game where Optimus roamed down. He was missing 2 waves for this potential play, and they just played slightly over-aggressive, and they capitalized on it, and they were able to steady out the game into the mid-game.
Yeah, now they're going up against Rampage, who in MSI plans, they were able to pick up the first victory quite convincingly. It looked like they were going to take game 2 as well, but Rampage fought back quite convincingly there as well. Do you feel like they're going to be favorites coming to this match, or is it LJ all the way, apparently, for this tournament?
I mean, I think you can throw historical track record when you've only played them at one tournament out the window. I think that it's such a flash in the pan. You didn't know how Rampage was going to perform. For Direwolves, they came in very nervous. I mean, they built the expectation themselves, so, not much sympathy out of Oceanic fans, but I think that people underestimate how hard it is to travel 30 hours on an international flight, and then be expected to show up and perform for your first tournament. So you would expect that, you know, only the 8 hours-ish, I think, over to Vietnam would be a little bit easier on them. They've been there for a couple of days now. And I think that same for the Japanese squad. They went through the exact same conditions. So these should be a much higher level out of both teams. And I'm excited to see who picks it up.
Yep, definitely excited to see how they're going to perform here. And speaking of the LGL lineup, let's take a look at their team heading onto the Rift to face off against the Direwolves. They've got a very similar roster, in fact, exactly the same as when they head to MSI, same as the Direwolves. Evie in the top lane, Tussle heading into the jungle with Ramune in the mid lane, Yutori Moyashi as their AD carry, and Dara as their support of choice.
And I mean, when you look at this lineup, Tussle is an explosive jungler. I mean, they've got a couple of really good power lanes as well. Ramune in the mid lane. This is going to be fire with fire, I feel. I think that Direwolves played their one slow game. It didn't work out, so now they're going to be like, throw caution to the wind. We're playing aggressive lanes again. We're going to look to build those advantages, and we'll see whether it works.
Yeah, whenever in this region, whenever you think about Direwolves, you know, all their players want to carry. They've got 5 pretty good carry threats on their team. They'll pick those lanes that they think they can win. And yeah, that's their game plan. Go fast and look to overpower your enemies.
Yeah, and the one thing I think that we can have a criticism about the Direwolves at the moment, even domestically, is they're getting very cute with their drafts. They're blind picking things like Cassidy. They're leaving up Threshers to pick Tahm Kenchers and, you know, trying to throw the gauntlet down to these teams. And it's been working in the OPL, to their credit. But when you're playing against great players, you know, like the Marines, now coming into Rampage, I don't think that you can play with such liberty through the draft phase, and they should be more conservative for it.
I feel like it's the same thing they went into at MSI. They were winning domestically with like pretty greedy, like they were winning through like just like overpowering, and they're not like when they went to MSI, they quickly found out they weren't able to just overpower their enemies, and they were quickly like giving away small advantages in lane.
Which comes back to what you were talking about at the start of this show. I mean, can the Direwolves walk over their opponents the same way they've been doing it in the OPL? Apparently not, especially after that match against Gigabyte Marines, but that was kind of expected. Now going up against Rampage, almost feels like there's a little bit more pressure on the Direwolves to perform, because this is the last game they're going to be playing in the group stage.
Well, yeah, I think they need to maybe get that idea out of their heads that they need to steamroll over their opponents like they do domestically. They said themselves that their macro wasn't really the problem at MSI. If they were able to, you know, like get it into the mid game, they said they were pretty confident about what they could do with even just a small advantage. So I really want them to just like try and tone it down a bit, maybe like round out their team comps a bit more and just, you know, try and like play a bit smarter.
Yeah, and I think that they have some emotional players, and this is what people miss behind the scenes, is that they're a team, when they're winning, they win more. And a couple of players on their team, you know, King, Fantix, in the past have been known to blow up a little bit on stage when they start falling behind. I mean, you laned with King at Origin. Certainly not a fan of giving away CS and losing out on lanes.
It was fun. We played Urgot.
Yeah, he got to play Urgot. But I think that this is something that they will want to take this game. I mean, to have all of the front-loaded pressure to go in day one and have both your matchups and then have to sit for a day and then move on to what could either be, well, let's call a spade, most likely going to be 2 hard games of days of League of Legends if they have a chance of winning this, is certainly something that the Direwolves members will stew on a lot, and I think that they're one of the teams that need to keep their spirits up if they're going to win.
Yeah, and I know working with Sybil, who was previously on the Direwolves, Schönfire like preaches like motivation, hard work, and like dedication, like really wanting to win. So you definitely know that they won't be happy with their previous game.
And, you know, internationally, they come across as a very arrogant team. But in reality, when you take a look at the Direwolves' personalities, they bond really well together. And even though they are arrogant in some situations, they do it to make sure that everyone is on the same page so that they're not no one is the weakest link, so to speak.
They tread that very fine line between we are a high-performance organization that is very cutthroat and expect great results to arrogance, in my opinion. And I think that at times they've got it right. And I think that their way they approached the Legacy series, the way they came back into the OPL was very indicative of a high-performing team that wants to do well and wants to push each other. And I think that the one time they went internationally and unfortunately had the microscope on them, they got it very wrong. So people will have a very bad opinion of the Direwolves, but when you talk to the players behind the scenes, they are about elevating the region. They do want to win. They want to make people better, and they want to be, you know, a serious contender on the international stage. It just doesn't look like they're there yet.
We'll have to see how they're going to do in this match, going up against Rampage from the LGL, the 2 #1 seeds from Oceania as well as Japan. We'll have to see how this match kicks off. Already we have a respect ban coming out from Rampage. Cassidy banned away, so no blind pick for you, Direwolves.
Yeah, it looks like the Tarm Kench is coming away for the Direwolves as well now, so they might be looking for that Thresh first pick.
They could potentially force a Zac
Or
or
a
Galio
Galio.
pick here. No, instead, Direwolves throw the gauntlet. They
So
ban out
it's-
Galio.
Well, I was going to say, if they're going to ban someone, it's going to be Galio, because both Chippies and Fantics do not play the champion, to my knowledge. So unless they've got a Destiny support Galio or a weird churn jungle Galio or something flying around on someone's rip, they will not make that trade.
Looks like it'll be Thresh first pick.
Has to be.
Has to be. The Caitlyn's also up, but
Thresh makes a lot of sense
Thresh
because Tarm Kench is
yeah,
banned.
Tarm Kench is banned. That's it.
I mean, I think at this stage, you pick Thresh.
okay.
If they pick Caitlyn, you just take Ashe into it, and then you
Yeah.
just run kill bottom lane.
What?
They-
Okay,
Di-
Braum
It's
is the
also
first pick.
Destiny's best champion,
Yeah.
by the way, so that is why we are so shocked.
Direwolves have shown a lot of priority over Braum in this current split of the OPL, but that's still a weird first pick, I've got to say.
It actually unlocks the support champion pool pretty much completely. You can run Thresh and just be happy to trade farm and
Yeah.
then look for picks around the map. You can run something ranged, you know, like a Zyra, like the Karma or something like that if you want to have a more utility bottom lane. I think that is a very strange first pick coming out of Direwolves.
It takes Braum away from Dara as well. He's known for his Braum play, but he's also known for his Thresh play, which he's now picked up. They could potentially pick up Caitlyn here as well to round out their bottom lane.
Yeah, a lot of teams usually use Braum as a counter pick to things such as like Syndra or, you know, things that you can block with his shield.
But
Potentially want priority on Gragas here. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe they think that Chippies actually has to play a tank, and when Chippies has played a tank, Gragas has been the one he goes towards, at least has lane priority against a lot of the carries, so that potentially is a team that they're looking to go for.
Yep, and they pick up Kha'Zix as their jungler of choice in the second rotation. That's with Rek'Sai up, which is instantly locked in for Shurnfire. Lee Sin comes to mind as well.
We've seen a lot of priority over the Rek'Sai this tournament. Apparently Rampage are just not about that. Don't know if they haven't had enough practice. Maybe they just don't rate it highly. Maybe they saw Shurnfire build Knight's Vow and they're like,
Absolutely no interest in Tussle building Knight's Vows. He is up there with...
if he gets a Knight's Vow on that Kha'Zix,
I will be very
home
shocked.
time? Yeah.
But Caitlyn is left available, so they'll pick it up. I want to touch on Tussle's champion pick here. Was a very aggressive jungler historically when I think about him. So I think that the Kha'Zix, even though a little bit off meta, makes a lot of sense. Wants to be able to find those 1v1 matchups. However, Rek'Sai at this stage actually does a very good job of out-skirmishing a lot of the historical skirmish junglers. Does fine into Elise, does absolutely fine into Lee Sin, as well as the Kha'Zix.
that is
That's
Cogmore.
Cogmore being locked in for
It's
Rampage.
technically still a flex pick. I believe we saw Nuke Duck, I think, play it
Did he really?
this weekend.
All right, that's strange.
Cogmore mid. I don't
I'm
want to look that far into
I
it.
mean,
but
as far as Cogmore mid goes, he does run Ghost Flash. So, I mean, just calling a spade, Ramune getting us ready for a very good pick here.
Wouldn't be too surprised. I mean, every single Japanese team we've seen play today has had some form of orthodox pick thrown our
Weird
way.
mid lane,
I don't want to
yeah.
go too deep. Big fan of the AP Cogmore, however.
You
So,
would be.
yep, we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, let's see what Rampage decided to do with that Cogmore pick. For now, they're going to ban out Vladimir as well as Fiora away from Fantics and Chippies. Very heavy bans towards the two solo laners, with Kennen and Renekton hitting the bench as well for the Direwolves.
And that's a couple of times Kennen's been banned up there in the top lane.
Yeah.
Evie actually might throw the gauntlet here, and he
the
does. This
blind
is
pitch.
so exciting because all of a sudden you've got rid of the Kennen, you've got rid of Renekton, as well as Fiora. So many lane bullies that go toe-to-toe with the Camille. I wonder if he does play the Kled and whether there is something that Chippies can return the favor in. He says that Olaf is a counter pick. Now, take this with a grain of salt, but Chippies ran around Korean solo queue a lot over the summer,
did.
and he came back with a big fan of the Olaf.
He tried to pull it out of MSI as well. Didn't
Did not
do
go
too well on
well.
the champion. So
There's
we'll have
also
to
the
see.
Jarvan as an option. That has, I believe that's like a 50-50.
Oh, that would be exciting if he does pull it out. We've seen it once before on the OPL.
Okay, there you
Instead,
go.
he'll go towards something else maybe.
I mean, out of all those
think-
picks, it has to be the Kled, but I'm telling you, he has...
Oh, Jack's
there you
locked
go.
in for Chippies in the top lane.
So the other thing he said when he came back was, Olaf is not the only thing I have. I have a list. Do you want me to go through them? I said, I honestly don't have time at the moment, Chippies, but I will take your word for it. So apparently Jack's the other thing. I like Jax in the current meta.
We saw it recently in international play. I can't remember which region, but has been popping up. From
It was
time
also
to
an
time.
emerging, like when, just before Camille got nerfed and people like playing her, banning her every game, Jax
Yeah.
was like one of those emerging type of counters that could, I believe you could just like stun her Like obviously you can dodge her true damage from
It's
her
a
Q.
second Q, yeah. So what
Yeah, the
happens
true
as soon as
damage.
she Qs you, you pop your Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike's duration is the same amount of time that the second Q stays up, so you dodge out a lot of that auto attack harass.
Yep.
Then with tabbies, you're actually able to win the trade. So you're exactly right there. That's how the matchup goes. We'll see whether Chippies is experienced enough to play around it, because Q has a much shorter cooldown than what Counter-Strike does. So you have to kill her before it comes back up.
Well, unfortunately, we're not going to see that
Cogmore
Cogmore in
mid.
the mid lane. It's going to be Orianna locked
Did it
in
win
for
in the
Rumine.
EU LCS? Did Nuke
Listen,
start to win with it?
I don't want to.
You don't follow
no,
the EU LCS that closely? Is that what you're trying to say?
No confirmation bias. It was picked, so it's got potential. It doesn't matter if it won or lost.
No, I was going to say that,
Yeah.
Ramune there was trying to just preserve the 100%
Yeah, no, I'm
win
not-
rate
I'm not sure.
or the 100% loss
Yeah.
rate. But all right.
They
So
just picked a normal mid laner though.
Orianna.
Nothing fancy.
I mean, Orianna has historically done well into 80 carries in the mid
Mm-hmm.
lane fish, able to trade out with the Clockwork wind-up, has very good wave clear to be able to pressure them, so
Yeah.
certainly not a bad pickup.
Of course, with Corky's slightly nerfed wave clear recently, it'll give Orianna more time to pressure him in and
Yep.
maybe look to go to the side lane.
Yep, we'll have to see how Rumina does against Fantix. He's pulled out the Corki, something he has not done in the OPL this split, but 2 games in a row he's pulled it out here in Rift Rivals.
Of course, he also hasn't played buff Corki in
that's true.
the patch wasn't available, so there's a reason that he hasn't been pulling it out all that much. I also like the Orianna purely because it gives him an initiation tool as soon as Kha'Zix is able to get into that backline. So it makes a lot of sense from the team composition standpoint as well, which we've seen the LJL teams pick heavily for team comp, I think it's fair to say, across the last couple of games.
Yep, and looking at Direwolf's comp, it's exactly the same. They've got their Corky mid, their Caitlyn 80 carry, and they've got a split push top.
Yeah, they're looking to win all 3 lanes again and slowly march this one towards
Not
victory.
sure how I feel about that. I wasn't too impressed with it last time. I think they should, like I said, play. They trust their macro game, so they should play to that.
I mean, on top of that now for the Direwolves, again, it's going to be a very heavy jungle matchup. Tussle, very well known to be an aggressive jungler for Rampage, and in the LJL, Shonefire, exactly the same story. It seems like every single Seed 1 team has this prodigy jungler ready to take place.
Yeah, however, it looked like game 1 that while Shern was able to get some early game action going, that eventually it did go over to Levy there. So we'll see whether Tussle is able to keep it rolling. The big thing that I want to talk about is this kind of split push versus split push mentality. This becomes incredibly dangerous for both teams, because if Jack gets up a kill in a creep wave, he's going to be able to completely bully around Evie. However, if you do not trust your early game, and the Direwolves have publicly said that they think their macro is fine, but their early game was lacking, throwing a gauntlet of split push versus split push, and the chance that Chippies fall behind removes a win condition immediately from the map.
And yeah, this is the big difference between Direwolves game 1 and this game here. Having a carry versus carry top lane matchup means that, just a small little trade, that means that both junglers should probably stay topside, because as you said, the matchup can be so incredibly volatile that, if Rek'Sai gets a gank, Jax gets a lead, that's... Eevee's not coming back from that.
No, definitely not. And
Which
completely you can say the same vice versa.
Vice versa as well, but the thing you've got to notice is Caitlyn Braum, they're going to have an absolute field day shoving in the Cogmore Thresh under tower and chipping at that turret all game long.
Already in the top side of the map, Chippy's trying to trade against Evie on the top side of the map, getting some good auto attacks down, popping Corrupting Potion. Seems like the Camille comes out on top to kick things off.
Certainly does, and still has sustain in the kit. It's something that we overlook in Camille's kit, because honestly, it's got everything, including the kitchen sink in there. But the ability to be able to heal up off creep waves and then amplify that if you hit a champion. And Jax generally stands in the middle of his creep wave because he wants to ramp up that passive through the auto attack.
Yep.
Cannot be understated in this matchup.
Chippies still gets the stun down. Evie tries to be tricky with the hook shot.
I think this heals up.
Oh, that's a good trade there coming out for the
We say,
Camille.
like we mentioned, both these junglers really intelligently started bottom side of the map because they both know, ooh, Tussle's actually going bot side. This could leave Evie open to a dive.
Yeah, it certainly could. I mean, they've traded so heavily, no corrupting pot charges left. They can see that he's not on top side. Chippies took too much damage. He's going to go for a greedy teleport back to lane, is he? No, he's not. He actually just
baiting.
backs away. Is he baiting?
No, he put a ward down just there, just to make sure that Tussel's not sitting in the wings.
So what you generally expect is a hard commit to the wave. Tussle now looking for a game bottom. We'll see if this eventuates.
This is a curious path.
Dara has to flash play for this to actually work, and they should be able to read that play.
King and Destiny wait for the wave. Tussle doing the exact same thing. Here goes Dara looking for the play. Destiny actually finds him with the winner's bite. King flashes over the wall. Tussle tries to chase on through. Hook lands onto Destiny. He's going to be A-OK. Still has flash available, or is he? Holding on to that for quite some time. Yutori Mayashi looking for the kill. Still standing and delivering against King. Winner's bite's going to connect. Good damage coming out from him. Lands on a trap as well. Yutori, be careful, my friend.
I mean, he did still have summoner spells available, so in no danger of dying there, Fish. But in the end, a really nice return. It's going to be 2 summoner spells burnt for just 1, but a lot of pressure transferred to the top side of the map. Although Chippy still falls down massively in CS and has to burn the teleport easy early. So kind of 2 lanes winning right now for Rampage, when only 1 should be.
Yeah, it looks like Chippy's really tried to commit into like the bait type of playstyle to try and get Schönfire up there early, and it's just like it backfired. Schönfire wasn't able to get the gank off. Schönfire looks like he's got himself a small lead. He's up a level on Tussle right now, but Chippy's had to use his teleport early. Evie's still got his, and he's got a CS lead.
Yeah, I mean, he has to make this gank on the top side of the map work. And you can see that even though the gank was successful for Tussle bottom lane, still a CS advantage over to the Caitlyn, over to the Braum, because they are just going to be able to continually bully out this lane. So everything kind of even on Summoner's Rift right now.
Yep.
In fact, Evie will have to go back and burn teleport as well, because Chippy's has that lane frozen.
Still small CS discrepancy between the 2 junglers. Just equates an extra longsword at the moment for Schönfire. 23 CS to 13.
I actually really respect what Evie just did as well. He didn't do the disrespect teleport onto a melee creep. What happens if the jungler is there? They just kill you when you do that. Instead, he teleports to a creep halfway up the lane, and there's no real way for that gank to go through because he'll just be able to read it. So really nice little interaction there.
So for the second time today, Chippy's not having a great time in his lane. First was the Fiora against Gragas, now the Jax against Camille.
Yeah, I mean, you can just see the continual harassers coming out of Evie is making this lane really obnoxious for Chippy to be able to stay in. He's getting frustrated, actually.
Yeah, trying to trade there. That's a big minion wave that Chippy just jumps right into. Evie gets a good trade back in, and that's going to force Jax back to base with all these minions.
I was about to say, big creep wave as well. That is a bad trade coming out of Chippy.
Chippy's just had to sit back, and he would have actually had a CS lead if he just let that wave hit the tower. He should know that he doesn't have to take that lane
He
far.
must be getting dived in between turrets here. In fact, Camille's chasing him down.
Tussle's on the bottom side of the map. This is huge coming out of Evie that he's able to do this while Schönfire's on the top side.
Yeah, I mean, he control warded the brush, so he knew Schön wasn't there. Schön also can't hold the creep wave off the turret, so best case scenario is completely gone for Chippies. Now what he's hoping is Schön gets an early level 6 and kills his lane. That's legitimately how Chippies comes back into this, because if he does not get a sensational gank, this is all but over for the Jax.
Chippy's got zoned off a wave or 2 there as well, so Evie's going to hit 6, at least 1 wave earlier.
Yeah.
This is just a disaster for the top side of the map for Direwolves.
Still not that bad in terms of gold, just a wave in favor of Evie, but that experience is definitely going to come into play shortly.
And I mean, the rest of the map is a farm fest. I mean, Corki's not going to kill Orianna. Orianna shouldn't be able to kill Corki unless it's a great shockwave that comes out. Bottom lane is going to be a farm lane in favor of the Caitlyn, you would think, that Cogmore scales incredibly hard. And the junglers are honestly 2 pretty good farming junglers as well. So top lane was the volatile part of the map, and Direwolves have lost there.
Definitely, I think we're going to look to see Fantix look to back relative, maybe 2, maybe 3 waves, pick up his package, and that's the time that Chippies should be able to claw back a little bit.
Just go top lane.
He doesn't even have to go top lane, it should just... Oh.
There's a gank coming in. Ultimate used by the Camille a little bit too soon. Tussle taking some damage. Chippy's trying to jump away. Will flash early, being followed through though. You've got nowhere to go. Everyone from Rampage is charging on down towards this Jackson. First blood is picked up by Evie in the top lane.
And Tussle left it. You can tell that his experience playing with the carry top laner, Fantix, goes a little bit aggressive, Fish.
Falking in on top of the mid laner from Rampage. Ramune, he's okay with that.
Yeah.
More than happy to let the Corki use all his mana.
You've only got a couple of Elks as Corki. That's the general rule. Offensively, defensively, he's such a mana-hungry champion at this stage of the game. But good chip damage going down, Joe.
Yeah, really good in the bottom lane at the moment for Direwolves. King and Destiny already got that turret down to half health, and 2 members of the Wolfpack looking to see if they can make their way bottom.
Looks like they're just switching their focus over to bot lane. They think, Look, you saw how desperately Chippies was trying to push that wave into the... Because Evie could have frozen that. He was so desperate to get that into tower to reset the wave. Because look at this. He's got a two-level disadvantage right now. So Direwolves, it's really bad for them, but I'm pretty sure they've just said, sorry, Chippies, the top side's done. Fantix looks to roam bot. I believe that tower's almost at... It's, just below half health now, which is...
Yeah.
Which, you know, they picked their 3 winning lanes, which is what they wanted. If one of them goes bad...
Yeah, that's a 2-level.
They've got that to fall back on.
But the problem...
advantage.
I mean, oh, here we go.
They're going for a fight first. Knock-up lands onto Yutori. He's exhausted immediately. Dark Passage gets thrown down on a hook. Lands onto Braum. Destiny not going to get flamed back, but Rampage escaped the gank.
I mean, credit to Yutori there. He was able to dodge out on all of the traps. One of them probably would have spelled his death. And you can see that potentially going to be a re-engage.
Yep, they should definitely stick around. Now, Fantix just came out of base. He's got a fresh base with his package up right now. Churnfire should really look to swing around. Yeah, you see... Ooh, I think Ramune really should have ulted Fantix there just for the pressure that he would get.
Just to chip him down?
Yeah. See, Churnfire's doing the right thing right now, going behind turret. Both TPs are up.
I mean, but do you want to trade top lane for bottom lane at this stage? Because we already said that the Camille-Jax matchup is so... I mean, they don't even have to.
They don't even have to. That's great. That's great.
To the trade.
Yutori as well as Dara back off away from bottom lane out of turret. King just waits for it to fall naturally, denying as much CS as possible.
All right, so there's 2 ways you win a 1-4 comp. Your 1 either wins and your 4 just sits around and kind of does nothing, or your 4 wins hard. The problem is it's much easier to win the game when your 1 is winning and just split pushing you to victory. So now what they do is they start moving the Jax around the map. Literally play hide the Chippies for the next 20 minutes of the game till he scales up into a position where he is able to 1v1 the Camille and use Caitlyn's longer range and those boots too to be able to continually knock down turrets.
Yeah, they can also just stall with these 2 champions on the bot side of the map as well.
Oh my goodness, Fantix really aggressive, diving on top of Ramune. He follows through with a flash.
I would say that that flash is more valuable to Ramune, however.
It is, definitely.
The map is opened up on Direwolf's side, so they have the freedom to push out the long wave and then move around Summoner's Rift. Braum still has flash, can flash ulti the Orianna. That will definitely be a kill at this stage of the game. So I understand the idea. A little bit of a disrespect play, trusting that Fantix won't be able to flash that shockwave.
Also confusing that he didn't just blow it as soon as he uses Valk instead of having to flash for it.
Yeah.
Make things a lot easier for Ramune, but does trade flash for flash, so it's not that bad for him.
Direwolves really need to speed up their play right now. They need to get this Fire Dragon. It's really risky for Chippies to be top lane right now. They need to push up this bot lane, get that Fire Dragon, and switch up to the top side.
Yeah, and you can see that they actually sat in standard lanes because of that Fire Drake. And with
they're not even bothering.
I mean, do they just race for it?
Ooh, they are. They're going straight for bottom lane out of turret. Orianna's being sent down here, so Shockwave available to...
No flash, no ulti.
No Shockwave.
On Ramune.
Yeah, no Shockwave available, no flash either.
Chippies is doing a really smart thing right now.
Teleport behind Ramune, actually getting caught out. Winter Spike connects, they lock him down, knocked up as well. Easy kill for Churnfire. And now it's Evie stuck behind his turret because Chippies has teleported in as well. Another Winter Spike. They try to lock her down. Ultimate to keep him a little bit longer, but Churnfire pops the ultimate himself and picks up a double.
And this is why it is confusing that Direwolves are playing so heavily towards the early game, because they feel their macro is good enough to compete on the world stage, and that's exactly what they showed. They threw the gauntlet, and Rampage didn't have the answer. They were expecting a traditional lane swap, and Direwolves take everything off Summoner's Rift.
That was absolutely great stuff out of Direwolves there. So many top laners fall into the exact same trap of trying to defend that top tower or just sitting there getting nothing. But Chippies intelligently rotates, gets the mid lane priority with Fantix there, and then they just rotate to that bot wave dive. He teleported in, that doesn't really matter. Evie teleported as well.
And at this stage, now that they have that advantage, 2,000 gold, that does a little bit to equalize Chippies, but more importantly, Shurn is massive, and Fantix is going to be on a Trinity Force back, which means that Dragon becomes an incredibly difficult thing to take with a Kog'Maw that needs to scale up into the mid-late game. I mean, they're just in such powerful position.
And also, well, as you touched on, the rest of their map is so far ahead right now. They got the tempo, they got the towers. That, Chippies can probably afford to freeze a few waves and catch up on XP.
Well, let's see if Direwolves make their way towards the Infernal Dragon, which we thought they would have by now. Rampage still have Tussle, who is on Kha'Zix, which does well taking down these neutral objectives. He's going to try his hand at just that.
Ooh, so they're actually trading top lane freeze for the Dragon at this stage. That's probably the first bad move that the Direwolves have made. Rampage, capitalize, pick up a very good Fire Drake for themselves.
Yeah, of course, whenever you're ahead, you don't really want to be trading objectives, but Well, Chippies is actually backing now. Okay, I guess we'll see King and Destiny rotate up there. Direwolves knew that they had no teleport, so they definitely didn't want to try and contest that. They're going to take the Rift Herald.
They're going to trade Rift Herald for bottom lane outer. There's no way for Eevee or Yutori to join a fight at the moment, so Direwolves capitalizing on that.
Top lane wave is also slow stack. That's why Chippies didn't push the next one, because he wanted the creep wave to be as big as possible. Wouldn't be surprised if that's a cannon creep wave fish, and you can see that how far back they started it. They have a free push into the top lane, and once again, if Rampage make the wrong call, and actually looks like it is a deliberate thing, because Shenfire didn't want that Rift Herald again.
He does pick it up eventually, though.
He did get it.
I mean, he walked away from
he didn't want
it
it.
to take a
He
tunnel.
did get it. He didn't want it.
You can see that they actually move into the top lane. Good trap line, nice and early.
I really actually like Direwolves, like their priority over that dragon. They know the dragon doesn't. It's not gonna kick in for ages. Cogmore's got an Infinity Edge 80 carry. That's not gonna, the 8% attack damage isn't really gonna work too well on him. Obviously, great on the Orianna.
Do they use this time with Rift Herald in top lane to collapse mid? Because that would be the complete optimal play. You know that you buy yourself an extra creep wave with Rift Herald up there. Still no flash available on Ramune, so they would know that he's a little bit of a sitting duck. Has ultimate, however, and they make that play towards mid lane. They've also bought a CS advantage now for Chippies, just by moving him around the map.
Yep. So they don't get anything mid lane, but they do get top lane outer turret, trading for bottom lane outer, and they still are just under 2,000 gold ahead of Rampage. So Direwolves sitting in a comfortable spot to kick things off.
Yeah, I think that mid lane dive was just a little bit too risky with Evie missing. Direwolves know this is the type of play that they should be comfortable with. They don't need to risk these types of silly things. They can just go with the guaranteed plays and trust in themselves going into the mid lane game.
Fantic's going to continue to push out this mid lane. He's picked up blue buff already, and as you mentioned, Small, he's sitting on close to a Trinity Force back. Should be able to pick that one up right now, and that's a huge power spike for any Corki.
Chippies will be pretty close as well himself, I imagine. Not sure when the next package is, but Direwolves, what I like about Direwolves comp, they have like very clear, defined power spikes in their Trinity Forces, their 2-item Caitlyn in the package. I expect to see Corki go top lane. I think he's picking up his package right now. Get top lane priority, translate that through the jungle. I'm not sure if Chippies wins the 1v1 right now, but Orianna cannot match the Corki in the top lane. So they should look to push that out and then rotate that to mid lane pressure while someone goes to clear that top wave.
So as far as a 1v1 goes, Chippies would probably be alright at this stage because Boots 2 is such a power spike on auto attack versus auto attack champions. As soon as he gets that equalized level, which he just did, would have been a fight that he could take. You can see that still Evie wants to go towards an aggressive build, picks up the Sheen, which is certainly a great pickup on the Camille, turns the second auto attack into a pretty deadly true damage spike. But it is kind of interesting that staying away from the Boots 2, because if Shern ever joins that fight, definitely swings right now, you have to feel, into the Direwolves' favor, although he's going tank again into a Knight's Vow.
I don't mind the Knight's Vow. It's really weird. It seems like with the Knight's Vow, they almost want a team fight with their split pusher, which just doesn't make really a lot of sense.
Chippy's actually going to get played back into this turret here. Direwolves looking to push for it, almost getting the Winter's Bite onto Tussle. Would have locked him down just beyond the out of turret.
And you can see they got priority top lane, and Orianna never really wants to be stuck in a side lane. Definitely is more of a team fight champion, so that wave will naturally start pushing back.
Yeah, Fantix ran out of the package. It looks like they just got a small CS lead with that. They didn't look to rotate it into the mid turret.
Again, trying to siege mid lane, but Rampage do have enough wave clear at the moment.
But once again, what they've done is they've pulled Ramune back into the mid lane, so now he's 30 CS down. And Fantix is absolutely having a field day. That wasn't a frozen wave. That wasn't a deliberate play. They just felt that they have to keep their mid lane turret up. And now that they spot the Orianna,
this is the wave,
this is the wave that they can hard commit to with all their members.
Let's see if the Direwolves are able to take this down. 2 auto-attacking champions will slowly chip away at this turret. Shenfire joins the fight as well, and mid lane outer falls eventually.
That is great patience out of the Direwolves there.
I mean, it is fantastic setup. They've made sure Yutori hasn't got any mana left available, can no longer spam out R's to be able to clear it. There's legitimately no kill threat there without Evie and Ramune and Tussle being in the team fight. They had spotted both of them on the top wave. That's just a good hard commit, and they break open another free objective at this stage of the map.
Yeah, at this stage of the game, there's really nothing that Rampage could have done. So it's not them playing bad. It's just the nature of this Corki having this Trinity Force, you know, level 11. I don't even think Evie could go near him at this stage. He would just be an absolute powerhouse in the 1v1.
Especially once Fantix picks up his rapid fire cannon, him as well as King are going to be able to take down turrets so quickly.
Are we thinking it's a rapid fire cannon?
I think so. For Corki, because he's such a short-range champion.
I am a big zeal of just being able to Valk on someone's head in a side lane and blow them up with a static shift. Big fan.
So I mean, you change your opinion for Corki season to season on what Zeal he's meant to pick up?
I think it changes person to person. You see a lot of people go for the rapid fire. I think maybe it depends on the comps.
I mean, I certainly have seen rapid fire cannon. I just think that when you are accelerated like this, when you are able to play 1-3-1, it just does way more damage being able to...
I think the only thing he's maybe like considering, because he's got to be pretty conscious about, like Orianna and Kog'Maw can both outrange him with the Kog'Maw's W and Orianna's ulti.
Well, for now, Direwolves do take down the next elemental dragon, which is the Cloud Dragon.
I mean, maybe that's what the call is. Maybe for team fights, you go towards a rapid fire for that big first auto attack off a big one. Rapid fire cannon proc, and if you want to split push, maybe you go towards like the better wave clear as well as the much better upfront burst damage. You can see that they've got the lane assignments how you wanted them, Jake, as well. They've sent Corki to deal with Evie, and they've got Jax kind of pre-farming in a side lane. And they're actually collapsing very quickly onto this Camille.
Let's see if they can take it down. Evie's going to try and run through the lane. Schoenfire tags her with the Praise Seeker. Flashes forward, locks down Evie. Winter's Bite is going to collapse as well. Ultimate's used, but it just doesn't matter because 4 members of the Wolfpack are in the top lane and King picks up a kill.
Yeah, but how much did you use burn for that? You've used a couple of ultimates. You can see that mid lane push is now on.
Are they going to look for Baron? Orianna's bottom.
Back away.
Ooh, they could potentially do so.
They have about 15 seconds of downtime where Evie's going to be dead. Orianna's showing bottom. They're not going to pull the trigger.
There are warning pings being thrown out by Rampage, and Baron is only going to spawn in the next 2 seconds.
You can see that Tussle actually thought they might be on it because he was pathing aggressively back towards it.
I definitely think Baron was the right call with Orianna being bottom there.
Especially given the fact that all you're up against really is a Kha'Zix that sure has level 11, so he's quite strong, but in a team fight isn't all that tanky at this stage of the game. And then Kog'Maw, who's sitting on 1 and a bit items, definitely not going to be that late game 2, 3, 4 item Kog'Maw that is able to take over team fights. So was a window to get that done.
And that double 80 carry, Jax could have teleported up. I really feel like that was a missed opportunity there by the Direwolves.
Ooh, 1 static shiv.
1 static shiv picked up by Caitlyn. Fanix just went back to base. I thought we were going to see what he picked up, but instead just gets...
What's that item called? Kirsch's Spark? What is it?
Kirchi's Shard.
Is it?
Kirchi's Shard.
Yeah, I have no idea. Sometimes we come up with names of items that I just never learn because I assume they're not going to be there next season.
But
this one stuck around for a while.
Yeah.
I've always thought it was the shiv, but then I got called out quite a few times.
Some pronunciation of Kirchi's Shard. No one really... I've never actually heard anyone call it. Like...
I've never seen... You generally don't build it.
I'm going to back and get my Kirchi's Shard. I don't think I've ever heard that statement.
I've got my Power Spark. My Kirchi's Shard Power Spark.
Well, Direwolves are posturing quite aggressively in the mid lane. Tussle and Schoenfire just going to trade places. Winter's Bite tags Tussle. And Dara is fishing for some hooks. And now teleport away from Jip. He's looking for a fight. There's the Dark Passage getting Tussle to safety on 1 tick of Winter's Bite as well. We'll still get prompt. And Fantix dive bombs into the back line. Big shockwave comes through though from the mid laner of Rampage. Tussle will fall. Fantix gets that first kill. Will die to Evie afterwards. But this seems to be a Wolfpack team fight as Evie and Yutori are the only 2 members left alive.
I mean, we were right. Fantix is very strong at this point of the game. Throws himself at the Rampage lineup. That actually might be enough for a Baron call because they've got Jax, mixed damage, so good against Baron at this stage of the game. And the jungler is dead. Direwolves just rip the guts out of this game. They're going to go up 5,000 gold.
You just saw how... Ooh, a bit dark. You just saw how good Direwolves' comp is in the mid game. Destiny used his ult to try and block the Lantern when Evie was... Tussle was trying to take it, sorry. They didn't even need the Brawl Mold in that fight. The Corki... Oh, rapid fire cannon.
Oh. Pipped at the finish line.
Well, here's that team fight again, guys. First, it was Tussle jumping aggressively.
And I thought that was aggressive. He obviously thought that with the Orianna on that side of the fight, they could take something, but they didn't account for Fantix roaming so aggressively. Good teleport comes in. Didn't even have the Counter-Strike on, so instead just dives into all the members, but Fantix was the one that was there. They're all sitting on the burn. That is through exhaust. and just able to get so much damage done. Then some nice kiting. I mean, he flashes away, picks up the second kill with a heal, and then Shern tries to save his life. Unfortunately, misses the damage it looked like on that ultimate. But Evie had to run for the hills. Teamfight already won, and Baron pick up over for the Direwolves.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like Tally's Rumble ultis. Ramune hit a 3-man ulti towards the back end of that fight, but it's just not enough.
And again, very gutsy play from Fantix, diving into the backline, works wonders for the Direwolves. And with that, they're now 6,000 gold up over Rampage with Baron buff to work with.
Yeah, and then IE will be next on the menu for Fantix right now. Has got the crit cloak, and good catch coming here onto Evie.
Yeah, Evie taking so much damage. King is more than happy to stand and deliver, but look at this. Tussle almost gets one-shot by a Jax. The rest of Rampage, I don't think they can defend any turrets anymore.
And the one thing you have to be conscious of when you're against a Jax composition is even if your split pusher shuts him down, he is still going to be able to 1v1 the rest of your team, because Jax is built for that. Unless that's inbuilt into your kit, you're not just going to be able to stand and deliver against him. And that is what the Kha'Zix found out.
Jax is even one of the better split pushers, honestly. Like, he's amazing 1v1. You know, he'll go up against anyone late game, but even in teamfights, he's got an AoE stun. He's got magic resistance armor on his ulti.
Yeah.
He's definitely like well equipped to teamfight as well if he's just even.
He's going to go for the Titanic Hydra next as well. So he'll be a very tanky Jax who can split push, can teamfight effectively once he picks up gargoyles.
Oh, it certainly is the best build on Jax at the moment. You can see Fantix 1v1 versus Evie.
Jumped up by Evie, but look at Chippies, joins the arena. Evie forced to leave. Shernfire looking for a fight himself. No package available for Fantix, so can't dive bomb into the fight that time round.
I'm a little bit surprised Shern didn't go then. That was a big clump of members. He had Flash Unburrow available. I thought that was going to be a winning team fight, but they stick to the game plan, which is even more impressive, because when I see 5-man knockups, I go for it. But instead, they rotate back top lane, they pick up the free objective, Dragon respawning, they're going to send Chippies down there for that. A very good game plan execution here.
This is why we don't see Destiny running around with Smite on his support spawn. You know, not going to go for it, pull the trigger that early.
How many times you want to bring it up? We've got a great game of League of Legends here. Let's just stick to the facts, Fish.
Oh, Chippies are now trying to take down an Infernal Dragon for his team. That is not spotted out by Rampage at all. It's Nocturne again. Makes another appearance in Summoner's Rift today.
I mean, that's the only thing I learned this game, really, is that you're a little bit afraid of the dark, eh? Last time we turned the lights out, you were a little bit shocked.
Just a little bit spooky. You know, playing against the Direwolves in the OPL and stuff, you know, they cut out your vision and, you know, you're a bit scared.
I mean, what really has changed between Game 1 and Game 2 here for the Direwolves? Because we saw that pretty consistent early games, but mid-game, they were able to turn this one on. They were able to get the team fights they needed, and certainly weren't able to do that against the Gigabyte Marines. The Do-si-do.
Do-si-do doesn't work. Chippies collapses on him and picks up an easy solo kill.
I mean, he has 40 CS now, as well as the item advantage.
Two
he
levels.
Should be winning that. However, a little bit of a disrespect chuckle. Thoughts on that? I know that you are a big one for flashing the rank 7 emblem of your supports.
I would never do
rumor
that.
has it.
I would never do that.
So, are you a fan of the chuckle when you kill someone that pretty much put you in the bin in the laning phase?
I'll be honest with you, I have laugh bound to my, like, key bound to my mouse just for that very reason. just to annoy people. Like, you know,
it's a psychological warfare.
If you can do the small things to get into people's heads and like make them angry with like not doing anything to yourself, I say go for it. if that annoys Evie, he should probably, you know, build up a bit of resilience.
Well, Chippies is able to pick up a nice solo kill against Evie in the top lane there, who is components behind Jackson, but it is 2 levels behind. Can't even go toe-to-toe. Pops the ultimate here, looking for a fight. Tussle wants to join with Yutori. Chippy stands and delivers. What the heck? This guy's a monster.
And Evie actually nearly ran out of his own ultimatum. He didn't want any piece of that Jax. They also open up bottom lane turret. Chippy's now all of a sudden is unlocked and looks like he's going to be able to pick up Ushiati's first win, although I've just jinxed it probably in saying
It's gone.
Well, let's see, because they're still sieging mid lane turrets. I mean, the big difference in these two games is Yutori, he has not lived up to the hyper carry that we expected him to be for Rampage. Where when we watched the Gigabyte Marines, their new young AD carry was able to do fantastically against Direwolves.
He was also going for a strange build. I personally, think that if you're going to go Trinity Force, it is a rush item. Just because of how well Sheen synergizes with Kog'Maw's laning phase. You trade on W so much more efficiently than you will ever trade on, Cutlass. as a Cogmore. So that's the strange thing about Yutori's play so far. Hasn't really been how he's positioned or anything, because he's actually been quite good during the team fights. It's just the item build he's gone for, because he's not coming online until 3-4 items at this stage, and I just don't know if he has that time left.
Maybe it's like an adaptation to the lane matchup, because imagine playing Cogmore, you come back to lane with a Sheen and boots, Sheen and longsword. You're going up against a Caitlyn with a BF sword. I don't think that's a fun time. You saw how much their tower got absolutely destroyed with Cogmore having the sustain of a Bilgewater. I just think that would have been 5 times worth.
I mean, if that's the case, as we have a team fight, so let's hold that
Dara
thought.
gets knocked to the wall, but Chippy's predicts it and leap strikes over as well. Follow through from both of them, picking up a kill onto the support of Rampage. That should unlock the rest of the map.
I mean, if that's the case, the solution is to
pick.
not pick Cogmore into Caitlyn.
They picked it into Caitlyn, didn't
Yeah,
they?
Caitlyn was the third.
I was puzzled when it came up. But
Direwolves are about to make a play. Fantix has package and Chippies has gone back to base with Teleport, still moving down bottom lane to kind of go even against Heavy.
I mean, there's not all that many plays to be made. They need to shove out bottom lane. They need to get pressure. Then they can rotate back into Baron vision. The way that Direwolves control vision around Baron is a clear all the control wards, and then a little bit of catch here.
Tussle aggressive against Fantix. You don't want to do that. Corki just turns around and absolutely melts you.
does he have his Infinity Edge? I don't think he had his Infinity yet. That would have been a lot more damage.
Yeah, it certainly would have been. But then what they do is they don't really worry about your normal wards. They just hold you in your base for a couple of minutes.
Heavy.
I just can't talk about this.
Yep, he's looking for a fight here. Redemption being used as well. Fantix almost going toe-to-toe. Heavy narrowly picks up. In fact, it's not even him.
The
It's
redemption.
Dara that gets it with the redemption. Oh, that was close.
I mean, that was an intense fight. He actually did have Infinity Edge as well, it looks like. So, just not able to get it done. Tabby's OP.
That is a lot of pressure gone from Direwolves right now. You said Direwolves had it in the bag.
Oh, they still got it. But this would have been the Baron play they were looking for.
Yeah.
Because if Fantix doesn't get caught out there, all of a sudden there's no vision. You can't walk through the jungle because, you know, Brawl multi, Unburrow available, teleport coming in on a level 17 Jax at 30 minutes if you do not mind. And that would have been the complete lights out play, because once you've got a Corki as well as a Kate at this stage of the game, in fact, they're going to continue the pick.
Shenfire gets flayed out of his tunnel. He's locked down. Can he flash away? No, he can't. Shut down for Tussle.
I was just trying to interrupt you and say I was joking, because Chippies has so much 1v1 pressure, but Direwolves, they just need to take a step. They need to take a breather, you know, sit back for a minute and just, you know, regain their thoughts on what they have to do to win this game, because they should just be letting Chippies walk up to Evie. We saw how much, you know, he got a 1v3 kill before. They just need to let him, like, step back up and do his stuff.
Direwolves still have a 9,000 goal lead over Rampage, so still a lot they have to work with.
And the way that's manifesting itself is this man has a full item, and this is what he should be doing.
Heavy. He's going to be taken down straight away. And
Second
Chippy says,
one?
all right, come back here, Tussle. I'll try and fight you as well. Yutori wants to chase him down. Not going to happen. And Chippy says, well, it's back to Farm Fiesta.
Problem is that Shern's still dead, but they still pull the trigger on the play. Tussle is very low.
Chippies and King trying to take it down. Fantasy will Valkyrie.
Shockwave available, so Destiny has to actually zone Ramune. Oh, this is very dangerous.
Shockwave used very early. Hook connects onto Destiny. Fantix is low, but Redemption gets popped, and Fantix picks up Baron
That was
Masher.
definitely risky. Ramune definitely had the opportunity to, like,
Shockwave the Baron.
out damage Direwolves there and take that. They should be breathing a sigh of relief right now, the Direwolves.
I'm breathing a sigh of relief now for the Direwolves. I mean, that is such a bold call.
Maybe they thought Rek'Sai had his old ultimate and was going to ult back to that tunnel, but...
That was an interesting play. Second Infernal Drake is up for the Direwolves to also be able to take. So if this game goes even further, Elder's going to be up in 6 minutes. Double Infernal. I mean, they have all the tools to be able to close this one out.
I expect them to make this push.
Night and day performance as well for the Direwolves, especially in their game 1 against Gigabyte Marines. It looked fine until about 20 minutes in, and Gigabyte Marines just completely took over. Is it really just Rampage and Gigabyte Marines having that big of a skill disparity?
I think that you can say yes at this point. I think that the Marines are a team that we haven't seen as far as playing teams go for a pretty long time.
Oh, Shenfire lockdown. He's easy kill for Rampage. Shouldn't have been there, really.
Yeah, I think you've also got to look at the difference in team comps. This is a much better draft, like, from the Direwolves into Rampage's team comps. Rampage have, I'd say, 3 lanes that also need to scale just as much as Direwolves lanes. Yeah. So it's much more forgiving to play these other types of scaling champions that need 2 or 3 items into it.
Well, there's big item power spikes for the Wolves as well. Locker picked up with Knight's Vow for Schönfire, despite the fact that he is currently ticking down his death timer. Another locket for Braum with a redemption this time around, and double Zeal item complete for Caitlyn with Mercurial Scimitar and another Vamp Scepter.
I really hope this isn't, like, I hope that for the first time ever, I hope Schönfire is wrong. And this is not
The build
that we're going to see standard out of jungles. Because I was just enjoying, you know, Titanic Hydra, Cinder Hulk, Black Cleaver, Gargoyle Stoneplate, get in there, like, actually be a champion. Now we're seeing, like, actually junglers build the tank support items and support just build the support items.
Oh, Chippies, he's waiting for Evie. He's in trouble. Here he comes. Jack locks him down, knocks him out of the wall hop as well. Evie is just a sitting duck, and that's an easy solo kill for Chippies again and again and again.
You can't run, you cannot hide. Jax is going to chase you down. Chippies, after a very rough laning phase, is certainly showing that this is at least a good late game matchup.
This right here is the investment showing what Direwolves, we talked about it. They sacrificed that first Fire Dragon in order to give Chippies a freeze and for him able to catch up. And you can just see right now what it's doing for them.
Just going to take down the turret by
just goes
himself.
straight back
Thank you
in.
very much. Chippies gets that. Dara's looking for the play. Flashes forward.
Watch him turn it.
We'll be able to get the death sentence out. Chippies tries to turn it,
good
but does get hooked back. Shut down, picked up by Utori.
Yeah, and it's all the same. They're still breaking into the base here, Fish. I mean, they've still got the double AD carries. They've still got the 2 supports.
Dara looks for a hook. Threads the needle, doesn't connect.
Ooh.
Destiny going to get a good knock up there, though. A big shockwave coming out of Ramune. He
King.
will get taken down. King, he's in the back lines. That's a Caitlyn throwing out the ultimate. Can't quite snipe, tussle out. And now let's go toe-to-toe against Utori. Stand and deliver, you puppy. You should be able to fight that one.
I mean, all of a sudden, King has just marched into the base. Big 3-man shockwave onto the remaining members. Didn't really matter.
Well, there goes Tussle, jumping straight back in. Evie's right behind him. King will
Still
eventually
going.
flash away. The hook shot comes through. Good cleanse coming out of the Caitlyn. Is it enough? He gets one. Looking for 2. He gets the second as well. And now Dara's forced to run away, but Fantix hunts him down. Double kill picked up for the Corki, and Direwolves are looking for the win.
Your boy King has gone absolutely insane in that last team fight. Blown up the comp, and that's going to be Oceania's first victory.
First victory for Oceania, and finally taking down one of the teams from the LJL. Rampage will drop the game and unfortunately not be able to pick up that extra point, but still, Oceania's hope still available here.
Yeah,
at Roof Rails.
I don't think King had actually hit anyone since he got about 2 items, and whew, they definitely weren't expecting that damage out of him.
And certainly not as fired up as I thought they would be, because that was
No.
a pretty electric end to that game. Big shockwaves coming through from Ramune. I mean, the Cogmore was untouched, and then King just marched into the whole comp when the cooldowns were no longer available and torched them.
Yeah, I touched on it before about Schönfire wanting, dedication, motivation. They want to win everything. They're not going to be happy with his performance. They got caught out a lot trying to set up with their Barons.
Did they get caught out a lot, or did he get caught out a lot? Because a couple of times it was actually Schön, and
It was.
I know that in the OPL, this is something that he's been vocal about, even on social media, is that he's not happy with when he's going for the aggressive clears. And we saw, I think, twice this game that he was going for Vision and actually got picked off and killed.
Once around Baron, once when they were setting up bot lane.
Yep.
I think Schönfire has done a lot for this Direwolves team, but he makes very silly individual mistakes at times, but I'm not taking anything away from him. He's a smart man.
I actually think he's done a lot for Oceania as a region.
As a
I think
whole.
that he's actually changed the way that junglers approach pathing and early game vision and things like that. So certainly not taking anything away from him, but he would look back at that and think 2 kills, definitely didn't need to go
Won't be
over.
happy with
Probably gave it 10 extra minutes in the game. Sure, Dai will still walk away very clean, but he's a perfectionist. Let's call a spade a spade.
Sloppy back to work.
Yeah.
Sloppy back to work.
Well, for now, we could take a look at one of the team fights that Direwolves had in that game. And this is when Fantix decided he was going to completely dive bomb into the opposition. And that really set the tone of the rest of this match.
Yeah, and the reason this was so funny was because Tussle went aggressive and Fantix has all the priority topside. So look how far Ramune has to walk around here. And then Fantix just goes through the whole team and is able to get a great package off.
Yeah, we were talking about this a lot. At this stage in the game, Corki just got his Triforce. He was on the package spike. No one can answer him in the top lane, and we saw Ramune was five or so seconds late to this fight. We saw Fantix just jump into the middle of 4 people, and they still come out on top.
Yeah, and I mean, the big thing here is what it actually got the Direwolves, because before this, they were freezing out waves. They were trying to claw their way back into the game. One team fight off the back end of Corki, Baron able to chip away towers. All of a sudden, mid-game power trough of Caitlyn, although it doesn't really exist anymore, is well and truly overcome. And I mean, King's on 3 items. The Jax is well and truly able to answer the split push. I mean, that set up for what should have been a painful mid-game into a really smooth transition for the Direwolves carriers.
They were definitely fine just taking it slow, setting up those like freezes, like those slow pushing waves for chippies to catch back up. And then Rampage just gifted them it.
And this is what we keep talking about. That early game went poorly. Then all of a sudden, they give up a Dragon. They set up top wave. They go take themselves a Rift Herald. They get the free turret. They get a good rotation bottom lane. These are not individual plays coming out of the Direwolves, although they had a lot of them late game. This is just good map play.
That was honestly
and great
beautiful. Like comparing that to what they did in the previous game, they looked a bit lost. Like, you've seen Legacy, they looked a bit lost, but that coming out of Direwolves, that's what they'd be proud of in that early game.
And I think that what Rampage now have to look at is why were they making such rushed calls? The other LJL teams were saying that they felt like they were playing without pressure, that this was just like playing in the LJL and that they were very comfortable under the Stave Nurge. But what we saw in Rampage is no Summoner Spell, no Ultimate Orianna, try and hold a turret 1v3. Then we saw Evie actually teleport to give a second kill over to that and not join the push on the other side of the map. And Camille with Sheen pushes turrets incredibly quickly and maybe could have equalized that trade. I mean, that to me is just rushed decision making. That if you were playing your normal game of League of Legends as the best LJL team, you do not make those mistakes.
Yeah, Rampage, they definitely shined as individuals, but Direwolves, as a team, on a team level, they just outplayed them in that early game. They just rotated them around the map. They knew their power spikes. They didn't allow Rampage to get anything. They both had scaling comps, but Direwolves took their power spikes harder than Rampage took theirs.
And that's the other area you have to look at, Fish, because we talk about this bottom lane out of Rampage. I mean, they have Dara, who has been such a clutch support for them. They get him a playmaking champion, but to pair it with a Cogmore, a champion that... And this wasn't like a Gwynsu's into Bork Cogmore that's going to come on at 1 item, then 2 items. This was the all-in, greedy late game. If I get 6 items, I'm going to kill everyone. And unfortunately, for 2 of the playmakers on Rampage, they never got an entryway into this game.
Yeah, I honestly didn't see Cogmore wasn't able to go aggressive at all in that game. I would have really loved to see him with a Karma or something that could just boost him up into the fights, let him trade aggressively with a Caitlyn. If the Thresh gets a hook on the Braum or the Caitlyn, what's Cogmore going to do? It's going to get blocked by the Braum shield.
And that's what we said. I mean, maybe the Braum denies the aggressive picks, but what it should do is also allow those supportive picks of, the Nami, the Karma, to come out in full force, and then you're not taking chip damage, then you are pushing off turrets because you have double range, and you should be able to take over that lane. But unfortunately, not the case here.
They could have just looked for a Zyra and a Varus, Zyra, Ashe as well to just, those are lanes that, people know time and time again. That goes well into Caitlyn. Caitlyn's got to be scared. Caitlyn can't play as aggressive into those types of lanes as they do to a Thresh Cogmore.
And good gank setup. I mean, we keep talking about it, but I think a lot of that game was early, played around bottom lane for the Direwolves because they had no option on top side. Jax had lost that 1v1 so heavily that if they did not pick up first brick and start rotating around the map and making smart plays, that game would have been incredibly difficult to climb out of.
Yeah, we talked a lot about how volatile the top lane could be. Direwolves quickly adapted to that. I really like teams that adapt to the different play styles, what's happening on the map. They adapted. They knew that Camille was going to win that regardless, so they just went bot lane. Tussle was still stuck in the same mindset of what his coach would have told him in the draft and to just play topside. It's going to be volatile. But Direwolves didn't play into that. They played their own game.
And we've already talked about how Schoenfire was so crucial to the Direwolves' success last split and also in this match as well. He played phenomenal there, was able to set up those ganks bottom lane and led Direwolves to victory. And speaking of Schoenfire, we're going to check in with him very quickly as he's standing by with Hingers.
Hey guys, I'm here with Shern, fresh off that victory. Congratulations on the win. How you feeling?
A little bit tilted, but I'll get over it. There's always next game. So when we spoke to Fantix earlier today, he said that in the first game it was tough, but you guys were experimenting and trying things. What changed for you guys between game 1 and game 2 today? Game 2 was 2 different teams, so we prepared for each team, and I think Rampage was just easy to prepare for because Gigabyte Marines, they do these random lane swaps and random 80 carry picks like Jasana, so we were more uncomfortable playing against them, but yeah, we felt pretty comfortable playing against this team.
Yeah. Are you guys training at all with the rest of the OS teams? How are you feeling with Legacy and Sin? I mean, how do you feel knowing that OS's hopes rest on Sin tomorrow? How does that make you feel?
They're gonna do their best, alright? They're gonna do their best.
No, I'm laughing because you were umming. That's why I was laughing.
They're gonna do their best. That's all I can say.
Excellent stuff. So for you personally, then coming internationally, picking up a victory like this, how do you see the rest of the tournament coming out? I mean, obviously you guys are known for confidence, but towards the rest of it, how are you feeling?
Well, it's good to revenge our loss from MSI to Rampage on that last game of group stage. So I'm just looking forward to the next day.
Excellent stuff. Right, thanks for speaking to us, and best of luck in the rest of the tournament.
Thank you.
Hopes and dreams of Oceania resting on Sin's shoulders aside, he did touch on something quite crucial there, which is they did get their revenge against Rampage from MSI.
Yeah, they certainly did. I mean, we talked about it a little bit beforehand, that this was a team that definitely, even if it's a dead rubber, they take every game very seriously. And Shern is one of those players that takes losses personally, and you could see that he was very motivated to make up for it, and congratulations to him because he did.
He takes wins personally as well. He's definitely, you know, like we said, he's not happy with that. No one on the team will be happy. You saw their faces after the game.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, the thing is that was a really good win. And for a team that has had limited international success, I mean, they only have 2 opponents that they're going to play towards, and they played one game, and Sherm was right. They looked confused. They looked like they didn't know where Gigabyte Marines were going to transition to, and that's a credit to Gigabyte Marines because they play a very different style of League of Legends, and the team that played very standard, the Direwolves look comfortable against. So I think that they should treat that as it is, and the better team beat them, and they were able to pick up a pretty close win.
Yeah, I think they let the Gigabyte Marines get into their heads a little bit almost by the way he was talking. They were talking about like they were scared of early lane swaps and stuff like that because we saw they deep watered their top
lane swap watered.
Yeah.
Like this is like a season 5, season 4 lane swap water, and we were you confused as I was upstairs?
I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about Gigabyte Marines, though. They are unpredictable, and they do a lot of unexpected things that throw teams off guard.
I don't think they can be that unpredictable. The tower top lane's got protection for 5 or so minutes.
They have actually pulled off a lane swap in regular season.
But the thing is that they were running a composition that had Kalista Thresh, I believe. They have lane swapped in the past, don't get me wrong. And if you have Tristana, if you have Siva, something like that, if you have a Zigzag carry, I think that's what they ran the lane swap with initially, then you can definitely lane swap because you're a better turret pusher than whatever Kate's going to be able to do. No attack speed, steroid, blah, blah, blah. But when someone picks Kalista Thresher to you, ideas of lane swaps should go out the window, Fish, because that lane is designed to win lane, not to lane swap and try to take turrets.
Well, it didn't quite work out that way. No lane swaps came in for that first match between Gigabyte Marines as well as the Direwolves. For now, though, we're going to go into a break, but don't go anywhere because we'll be back with the final game of today. It'll be Detonation Focus Me taking on Ascension Gaming. Ultimate used by the Camille a little bit too soon. Tussle taking some damage. Chippy's trying to jump away. Wolf Flash early, being followed through though. You've got nowhere to go. Everyone from Rampage is charging on down towards this Jackson. First blood is picked up by Evie in the top lane.
Right now.
Teleport behind. Ramune actually getting caught out. Winter's Bite connects. They lock him down. Knocked up as well. Easy kill for Shermfire. And now it's Evie stuck behind his turret because Chippy's has teleported in as well. Another Winter's Bite. They try to lock her down. Ultimate to keep him alive a little bit longer, but Shermfire pops the ultimate himself and picks up a double. Evie's going to try and run through the lane. Shermfire tags her with the brace. He goes flashes forward, locks down Evie. Winter's Bite is going to collapse as well. Ultimate's used, but it just doesn't matter because 4 members of the Wolfpack are in the top lane and King picks up a kill. So now teleport play from Chippy's looking for a fight. There's the Dark Passage getting Tussle to safety on one tickle Winter's Bite as well. We'll still get propped. And Fantix dive bombs into the back line. Big shockwave comes through though from the mid laner of Rampage. Tussle will fall. Fantix gets that first kill, will die to Evie afterwards, but this seems to be a Wolfpack teamfight as Evie and Utori are the only 2 members left alive. Components behind Jackson, but it is 2 levels behind. Can't even go toe-to-toe. Pops the ultimate here, looking for a fight. Tussle wants to join with Utori. Chippy stands and delivers. What the heck? This guy's a monster.
And Evie actually nearly ran out of his own ultimatum. He didn't want any piece of that Jax. They also opened up bottom lane turret.
Yep, he's looking for a fight here. Redemption being used as well. Fantix almost going toe-to-toe. Evie narrowly picks up. In fact, it's not even him. It's
Redemption.
Dara that gets it with the redemption. He's in trouble. Here he comes. Jack locks him down, knocks him out of the wall hop as well. Evie is just a city duck, and that's an easy solo kill for Chippies. Well, there goes Tussle jumping straight back in. Evie's right behind him. King will eventually flash away. The hook shot comes through. Good cleanse coming out to Caitlyn. Is it enough? He gets 1. Looking for 2. He gets the second as well. And now Dara's forced to run away, but Fantix hunts him down. Double kill picked up for the Corki, and Direwolves are looking for the win.
Your boy King has gone absolutely insane in that last team fight. blown up the comp, and that's going to be Oceania's first victory.
First victory for Oceania, and finally taking down one of the teams from the LGL. Rampage will drop the game and unfortunately not be able to pick up that extra point, but still, Oceania's hope still available here.